All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about something we all deal with, conflict. You know, that tense, exhausting feeling that can pop up anywhere, from the family dinner table to our social media feeds. We're going to explore a really powerful skill called conflict resilience and how it can totally change the game.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever had that knot in your stomach before a conversation you knew was going to be tough, and you just bailed? You changed the subject, you stayed quiet, you did whatever it took to keep the peace. Yeah, we've all been there. And that instinct is exactly what we need to understand today.
You see, we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner. We've fallen into what you could call the conflict avoidance trap. And honestly, it's wearing us all out. We're actively dodging the very struggles that are actually essential for us to move forward.
I love this quote from Frederick Douglass because it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We all want the good stuff, the peace, the progress, the solutions, but we're trying to get it without the messy parts, without the thunder and lightning of a real disagreement. We want that beautiful calm ocean, but without its roar.
And this really is the heart of the issue. Whether it's with family or on the national stage, we've started treating every disagreement like it's this high-stakes, winner-take-all battle. And because of that, we're losing the muscle for just sitting with discomfort, for actually hearing someone out instead of just trying to win or run away.
And look, this isn't just a vague feeling. This has real, measurable consequences. Check this out. Between 2018 and 2021, the number of American adults reporting serious psychological distress almost quadrupled. That's a staggering jump. It shows that our struggle to handle conflict is taking a massive toll on our well-being.
And get this, in a class at Harvard, a class specifically designed to teach future lawyers how to handle tough conversations about things like police reform, the students kept dodging the hard stuff. When the discussion got heated around topics like white supremacy or police budgets, you know what the student facilitators did? They steered the conversation towards love. Yep, love. Even the people literally being trained for this stuff have that deep instinct to avoid tension.
Okay, so what do we do about all this? How do we break out of this trap? Well, it all starts with a huge mental shift. Our first big reframe. We have to change our goal. Instead of trying to eliminate conflict, the new goal is to actually befriend the discomfort.
And that brings us to this powerful idea, conflict resilience. Now, this is not some special trait you're born with. It's a skill you can build. It's about making a conscious choice to see a disagreement not as a threat you have to shut down, but as an opportunity to learn something new.
If you want to see a masterclass in this, look no further than Dr. Anthony Fauci during the AIDS crisis. In 1988, an activist named Larry Kramer wrote a scathing open letter calling Fauci a murderer. Now, Fauci could have fired back, gone on the defensive, but instead he did something amazing. He picked up the phone. He called Kramer and just asked him to explain. And those brutally difficult conversations, they directly led to better clinical trials that ended up saving countless lives.
And that's the whole game right there. Fauci made a conscious choice. He decided to put, as he put it, the theatrics aside and just listen. He reframed the whole situation. It wasn't a personal attack he needed to defend against. It was a chance to understand something he was missing. That shift made all the difference.
So dealing with other people is one thing, but, a lot of the time, the biggest, loudest conflict is the one happening inside our own heads. And that brings us to our second reframe. Realizing that the toughest negotiation is almost always the one you're having with yourself.
Here's the truth. None of us are just one single unified person. We're all full of competing voices, contradictory parts of ourselves. And if we're not willing to sit with that internal discomfort, how can we possibly show up in a real, authentic way when we disagree with somebody else?
You know this feeling, right? It's that classic internal tug of war. One part of you feels the pull of duty. Go to med school, make everyone proud, do the responsible thing. But then there's this other part of you that's just screaming to follow your passion, to pursue music, to take a risk. We all have versions of this debate going on inside us all the time.
And here's where we get into trouble. When we decide one of those voices is bad or wrong and we try to shut it up, we're not actually fixing the problem. We're just shoving a real, valid part of who we are into a closet and hoping it stays quiet. To be resilient out there, we first have to be honest in here.
So if this is all so important, why does it feel so hard? Why does a simple disagreement sometimes feel like a physical threat? Well, our third and final reframe gets into our own biology. It turns out it's not you, it's your brain.
Think of your brain like this. Its number one job for millions of years has been just to keep you alive.
It's an incredible survival machine. The only problem is, it's kind of running on old software. It often treats a modern social threat, like a tense argument about politics, with the exact same alarm bells it would use for a literal life or death threat.
And when that ancient alarm goes off, our brain pretty much defaults to one of 5 hardwired survival modes, the 5 Fs. You'll probably recognize these. We fight back, getting aggressive. We take flight, avoiding it completely. We freeze, just shutting down. We fawn, trying to please the other person at our own expense. Or we fester, bottling it all up inside. Sound familiar?
Okay, so you do all this work. You learn to befriend discomfort. You sort out your internal battles. You work with your own biology. So what's the big reward? What's the payoff? Well, it's probably not what you think. It's not about winning. It's about something way more valuable.
And this right here, this is the question that trips everybody up. We think, why should I even bother? I'm never going to change their mind. And that's a totally fair question, but it's a question that's aimed at the wrong target.
Because at the end of the day, the real goal of healthy conflict, the true purpose, it isn't agreement.
It's understanding. That's the prize. It's about creating enough space for you to truly see their world and for them to see yours. The payoff isn't victory, it's connection.
Think about this story about a guy named Trevor. He decided to have a really tough conversation with his grandmother about her political beliefs. And no, he didn't change her mind. But what he did do was learn about her life, her past, the experiences that shaped her views. He didn't win the argument, but he gained a much deeper relationship with his grandma. That's a successful conflict.
So I'll just leave you with this. Knowing that the goal isn't to win, but to understand, what conversation in your own life are you ready to have differently? Thanks so much for joining me.